Okay, so we're looking at the factor theorem, which states that when f of c equals 0, then x minus c is a factor of f of x. So f of x is the function, all right? You're going to look for a certain number that when you put it into the function equals 0, all right? So we have an example here. We have a polynomial, x cubed minus 7x plus 6. Right? So they've told us to factorize this expression. All right? So using the factor theorem, we're going to look for a number that when we put it into this function is going to equal 0. All right? So this is the part where you do trial and error. All right? So here, let's say, for example, okay, let's use 1. All right? So if we say f of 1 equals, so wherever there's x, we substitute it with 1. So we have 1 cubed minus 7, right, plus 6, right? So 1 cubed, that gives us 1. 7 times 1, that gives us 7 plus 6, right? So 1 minus 7, we get negative 6. Negative 6 plus 6, we get 0, all right? So we have found a factor, right? We have found a factor. So our factor, all right, is going to be x minus 1, all right? Our factor is x minus 1, right? Now, we haven't yet finished the question, right? Because we have to factorize this polynomial, all right? So we found one factor, right? So this factor is going to enable us to find the other factors, right? We can use long division or we can use synthetic division, all right? So let's use synthetic division in this case, right? So what you say, x minus 1 equals 0, right? When you take this negative 1 to the other side, x equals 1, all right? X equals 1. That's how we put the 1 here and we got the 0. So this 1 which is here, we're going to put it outside, all right? We put it outside, 1. Then we're going to list the coefficients of this polynomial. Remember, the coefficient is the number before the variable. The variable is the letter, all right? So for x cubed, the coefficient is 1, all right? We do not have an x squared, all right? So our coefficient for x squared is 0, right? Then our coefficient for x is negative 7, right? And then we write down our constant, which is 6, right? Write down up. So this is how we're going to do it, all right? The first thing, you drop this 1, bring it here. You say 1 times 1, that is 1, all right? Then you're going to say 0 plus 1, that will give you 1, all right? Then again you say 1 times 1, you get 1, all right? Then negative 7 plus 1, you get negative 6, right? Then 1 times negative 6, you get negative 6. Then 6 plus negative 6, you get 0. All right? You get 0. Right? So what happens here? We have found our other factor, right? After you do the synthetic division, right? Remember, for your new factor, You start, this is the constant, this is x, and this is x squared, right? So what I mean by that, this one here becomes 1x squared plus, all right, this one becomes 1x, all right, and our constant is -6, all right? So this is our other factor, all right? This is our other factor, all right? It's x squared plus x minus 6. This is the second factor, right? Now we're still not done because we have to break this one. We want the factors as linear factors, all right? Linear factors are like this, x minus c. This is a linear factor, right? We have one linear factor, all right? So even this quadratic expression here, all right, we're going to have to break it down into linear factors, meaning we have to factorize this further so that we have the factors in the simplest forms, simplest form. All right. So if we remember how to factorize quadratic expressions, remember a quadratic expression is in the form of a x squared plus b x minus c. All right. So we have to determine our a. A is just the coefficient of x squared. So a equals 1, right? B is the coefficient of x, which is 1, right? And our c equals -6, right? This. So our c equals -6. So once you determine your a, b, and c, right? C is the constant, b is the coefficient of x, a is the coefficient of x squared. The first step that you're going to do is you're going to say a times c, all right? You're going to multiply a times c, the coefficient of x squared times the constant, that is 1 times -6, all right? We're going to get -6. Now, we have to find two factors of 6 that when we add them, right, excuse me, when we add them, they'll give us 1. And when we multiply them, they're going to give us -6, all right? Two factors, when we add them, they give us 1. And when we multiply them, they give us -6, all right? The product of a times c, all right? So those two factors, again, this is trial and error method, right? Those two factors, we can say 3 and -2, right? 3 times -2, you get -6. 3 plus -2, you get +1. So those are our two factors. So we can break this expression down as x plus 3, all right, x minus 2, right? So now we have factorized this expression, x cubed. So let me write it properly. All right. So we'll say here x cubed minus 7x plus 6 equals, all right, we list down our linear factors. The first one is x minus 1. The second one is x plus 3. And the third one is x minus 2. All right. So basically, what this is telling us here is that if you substitute, all right, if you substitute x for 1 or x for -3 or x as 2 into this polynomial here, all right, if you substitute x for any of these values here, all right, you will get 0, all right, you will get 0. If you as we saw when we substituted x with 1, we got 0. If you substitute x with -3, you will get 0. Substitute x with 2, you're still going to get 0. So we have factorized our polynomial.